Shut up. Band on the
I
Run.
spoke over you.
Oh,
Just
what
like
an
John and
accident.
Paul. We should break up the band. Fuck. Let's let Ringo sing one.
Band on the Run is the third studio album by the British American rock band Paul McCartney and Wings. It was released in December 1973, and it was McCartney's fifth album after leaving the Beatles in 1970. Although sales were modest initially, its commercial performance was aided by two hit singles, Jet and Band on the Run, such that it became a top-selling studio album of 1974 and in the United Kingdom and Australia. It became the top-selling studio album in 1974 in the UK and Australia. In addition to revitalizing McCartney's critical standing, remains McCartney's most successful album and the most celebrated of his post-Beatles work. And we're going to shit on it for about 30 minutes or something. Are we? What are we going to do? Is it going to be good? Is it going to be bad?
Wow, people are
How do
just
we
going to have to
feel?
wait until we start talking. You know, that's what they do. They have to listen.
Yeah,
So
we'll
I
sit
mean,
here quietly and gather our thoughts for a bit.
yeah. But I mean, you prefer Paul to John, don't you? You're a McCartney lover. Is that fair to say?
I'm not a McCartney hater, I think.
I see.
Yeah, I'm kind of appreciate all of them and for the things that they do in their own special ways. They all contributed to the Beatles, didn't they?
Yeah.
And
But, you know,
pros and cons, weaknesses and strengths, and all of them. And I'm just not a hater of Paul McCartney, unlike some people that we could talk about.
well, who had the best solo career? It'd be fair to say it would be Paul, right? Like, do you think he had more success? I mean, obviously John only had 10 years, and then for some reason he just stopped making music. What a selfish man.
It went quiet for a while, for quite a while there, until he popped up in that movie by the Four Weddings and a Funeral fella. What was that called?
Yesterday.
Yeah, that was about the last time, I think. Big silence, and then he pops up in that film, and then we haven't heard any more from him. Oh, he put out a new song recently, didn't he?
He did. Yeah,
John.
yeah. I mean,
So he's still going.
he's still going.
Yeah.
I mean, he does nothing for 43 years,
Right.
and then he's number one in America.
Boom. Just like that.
Boom.
Yeah.
Just like that. He's like, world
Yeah.
needs some real music. I'm gonna
I
come
heard
out.
I heard he didn't even finish the song though. Like he sort of did.
That's
He
how good he
started
is.
it on it in the back of the day, and then he just sort of put it
Uh-huh.
aside in a cupboard. And it's the other ones that had to come along and say, "Hey, John, we're going to finish this for you, okay? All right." And they put that out recently. So he's a bit of a lazy tosser, isn't he? Like just
Well, the fact is that a half finished John Lennon song can still be number one around the world. It says a lot, you know. Didn't even bother to finish the words and the verses. Just sort of mumbled off, and
yeah, but Paul's still putting out album after album that no one gives a flying fuck about. But he can pull something out of John Lennon's cupboard and go, that bridge is shit. Let's just cut that completely and then finish the lyrics and the other mumble bit. And so Paul's made a huge contribution to John's career, even though John's, a bit slow and lazy, really.
Wow. I think John stepped back from the microphone because Yoko kept standing by had her microphone too. So he just thought, maybe if I don't sing, she won't sing. Yeah.
So if he's sort of taken a back seat because he's realized how shit Yoko is, and he doesn't really want to go to it. You shit, Yoko, just fuck off. So he's just sort of every now and then putting things out the cupboard and go, Paul, you finish it and don't fucking tell Yoko.
Yeah, I did.
And then he goes, it's your birthday, Yoko. We got a song for you. Yay. No. You could have sung on it. Yeah.
I did hear it's an unreleased Lennon demo, and it's one of his most renowned demos called "Your Shit, Yoko." And it was breathtaking and straight to the point. And
It's 3 minutes of Yoko reciting poetry, isn't it?
yeah, and then John's in the background. You remember that wonderful
Your shit, Yoko.
that Revolution number
Your-
9, where it was number
Yeah.
9, number 9, number 9. It was the same. Yoko's like, I don't know, knitting and singing. I'm trying to remember it. And then John's in the back. You shit, Yoko. You shit, Yoko. You shit, Yoko. You shit, Yoko. Like that.
Handbag.
Put me in a handbag.
Oh, fish cakes.
On the note of fish cakes, I mean, it's fair to say that Paul McCartney has had the most successful post-Beatles career, right? Or at least, I think he had more hits, like
More lively, more lively, but more life to him.
He was kind of we can say it now. He was a driving force in the success of the Beatles, wasn't he?
It seems like he was the guy putting the business together and trying to pull everyone together when everyone was pulling in different directions.
Yeah, I mean,
he tried to keep it going.
There's a great quote from John Lennon saying, like post the Beatles, Paul, I can't remember it now. Paul used the Beatle thing to sell records, and John felt like he didn't do that, and probably should have done. He felt like John didn't use their history to have his own success. Because I don't even recall. Was Imagine in '71 when Imagine came out? It wasn't a hit at the time, was it? It was only a hit after he disappeared sometime in New York City.
Was it?
That it became a hit. It might have been a minor hit in '71. But yeah, it wasn't until he disappeared.
Wasn't until he had a little break. Yeah.
A little break, yeah.
Well, it's good to see him come back and have an acting career for a moment. I mean, I think he should do more of that. He didn't look too bad.
In his old age, he looked a lot like that guy from 28 Days Later? Was it
No, I don't. No, he just looks like John Lennon, I thought. And older and wiser. It's good to see he's living in a little house by the beach.
Yeah, and Yoko nowhere in sight. Yeah.
Yeah, that was weird.
Yeah. So maybe she was just making a cup of tea.
Maybe he has a cellar and he just has like a door with a bolted chain on there.
It's like like an Evil Dead when they've got the that possessed witch is in the basement. She's chained in, but she can push open the door and wail, try and grab people. We're gonna get sued. So
try and sing on people's songs. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Band on the Run.
Band on the Run.
What's that?
It's the third album by Paul McCartney and Wings. So Wings, I think they did fairly successfully as a follow-on band. Not many people get a second time round, do they? He had the Beatles and then he had Wings. So that kind of says that Paul was worth something, right?
He had a string of hits. He had hits through the 80s with Stevie Wonder and Michael Jackson.
Ebony and Ivory go together like something.
Oil and water.
Yeah. Like ham and cheese. Yeah.
Side by side in the ghetto. Oh, Lord, why can't we? Something like that, wasn't it?
Because guns, Paul. Because guns.
Yeah. What was the one he did with Stevie Wonder? Was that Sunshine of My...
No, Stevie Wonder was Ebony and Ivory, and then he did The Girl Is Mine with Michael Jackson and something else. Yeah. And then
probably low points of Stevie Wonder's career, wasn't it? As many people have pointed out. But a chart topper.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. The white grannies were tapping their toes to that. Oh, what a lovely song.
That coloured fella sure can sing. Yeah.
I always like that coloured boy. He's a talented one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Him and
Um,
Sammy Davis. I like those two.
we're just gonna stop now, Dan. We're gonna move back to white, fresh-faced McCartney.
Let's talk
Um,
about the White Boys.
let's stick to what we know.
Okay.
Um, what were we saying? Yeah, and this is like, I think so. Like John, he jumped straight out the gate, had his Plastic Ono band, and then Imagine, and then pretty much disappeared until he briefly came back before he disappeared again. But Paul had like a couple of sort of demos albums that he quickly put out, homemade shit. Like I think it was called McCartney. On that had Maybe I'm Amazed, which is fucking an amazing song. But not, I don't think it was a big hit at the time. Maybe it was a small hit, but it's one of his big ones now. But then I think this Band on the Run was the fuck you, John. I've got a commercial success on my hands. And
Apparently he was getting a bit desperate to prove himself that he could make hit records after the Beatles.
Yeah. Oh, as you would, you know?
So he had hits on the first two records, though, didn't he? He had like songs, like you were saying. Maybe I'm amazed.
Mean, you know, yeah, minor hits. I don't think they were any big boomers. But, you know, people that whole, you'd want to say the first 5 years of the 70s, people were just like, well, why don't you just get the Beatles back together? Stop fucking around. Just call up your mates and get, you know, be geniuses again. And of course, they all wanted to prove their solo worth. I mean, fucking Harrison put out a triple solo album. What a twat. And Ringo, I don't know what Ringo did. I think Ringo was the first to put out a solo album, actually.
Highly productive musician. Still going, still pulling out the music.
Yeah, number one.
Yeah, he's got a bigger output than George Harrison as well, who's also, you know, one of those quiet musicians that takes big periods out of the spotlight.
Yeah, he also has just disappeared. I mean, like, I don't understand. And then, like, you know, maybe there's like an island somewhere where all these awesome rockers are going and just starting bands for, like, there'd be John and George and fucking Charlie Watts just all living together somewhere.
Yeah, well, you haven't heard much about Charlie Watts lately, have you?
Yeah.
He's been quiet the last few years.
I mean, the Stones just put out an album and the lazy cunt's only playing on 2 songs. I mean, pull it out your ass, Charlie. You know?
Yeah. Oh, it's selfish, really. I mean, what about the fans? Think of the fans.
Selfish. Yeah, but to get back on point, Band on the Run, I think it's got some absolute classic songs, and then it's got some big piles of dog shit on it as well, which I guess is most albums in the 70s. I think it's aged well. I think it's well recorded. It's a shame McCartney's playing the drums, but what are you going to do when the rest of your band quits and doesn't want to go to wherever the fuck they recorded this? Jamaica?
Yeah.
Or
so one member quit a couple weeks out before they went, and then another one quit the night before they went off to Africa to record this album.
And Paul was saying, "Oh, I'll show you guys. I'll make a hit."
And he did.
He did. Yeah. What a... I wish... everybody wishes they could just the other day, like, I'm going to be a complete fucking stallion in the sack tonight. And then you are. You know? Like, power of positive thought.
Yes, so.
I'm going to... Yeah.
Are we going to run through the songs and go...
sure. We haven't done that in a while. Where you go?
Okay, so first song, Band on the Run. I have to say...
the title of the album.
Yeah, it's also the first song on the record. I have to say, I remember being a little kid sitting next to the radio one day, and Band on the Run came on, and instantly my little ears pricked up, and I went, that's different. And then I pretty much just sat there mesmerized listening to the song, thinking, this is fucking amazing. This is fantastic. And Paul McCartney.
Did you walk around the house afterwards going, no? as every little kid does.
Oh, I was remember that. Running on another rain can crashing down. What? Oh, I forget the lyrics now, but I remember singing that all the time and thinking, wow. Because I just loved the sections of it, how it went quiet, and then we had the big, the chorusy bit.
Do 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 bow bow
Bow,
bow.
bow.
Yeah.
Yeah, the sections, and it's a classic piece of music. It's amazing, isn't it? It's a great, great fucking song. Just hits you in the face, and it's just.
I hate being positive with you, but yeah, I have to agree. It's a well written song. It's very Beatlesy. It's very Paul with all the sections.
It's got those ABBA songwriting thing that he does. You're aware of that one, where he goes the A chord, the first chord, and then the second chord is another chord. And then he goes that second chord again, and then he goes back to the first chord for the fourth part, and then it repeats back onto the first chord again, which was the last chord you had. So it's ABBA, which he did in Penny Lane and all these sort of other songs. You listen to it and go, oh, wow, that little trick he does quite a bit, and it seems to turn out some pretty amazing songs.
Yeah, right. Well, I mean, it's all about tricks, isn't it? It's just mathematics. But yeah, like quality recording, nice guitar tones, good drum sound, good song, good harmony. I was the same when I was a kid. I didn't, like, when I was introduced to the Beatles, it was just a giant box of vinyls. And it had some, this is in the 80s, so it had some solo Beatles stuff in amongst it. And I remember looking at the album cover for Band on the Run and thinking, oh, this is just like Sgt. Pepper. There's like a collection of guys against the wall. That's neat. They're being caught by the police or whatever it's supposed to be. But it was Paul McCartney and he was making more music. And I just thought, oh, this is the Beatles. As you do when you're 5 years old. But yeah, great song. Winner. Moving on. What's next?
Jet. Ditto. Fucking incredible song.
Yeah.
2 in a row. Like, it just sounds amazing. And nice upbeat rocker. It's got that cool pedal tone on, like, it's an organ or something that goes in the middle, and it's just like one chord going in the middle, and when it comes in, I haven't got a fucking clue what the words and all that about. Apparently, he just makes his lyrics are all just made up shit about some fucking thing he just fucking wrote down and went, I don't know what it's about either. Well, he said that's just my method.
Movement. Anyway, so he's gone, here's my new album. He's gone up, 2 quality songs, and then what does he do?
It's a song called Bluebird, which is a nice song, but I'd take a shit on it any day.
Piece of crap. I was like, this is a leftover from the White Album that nobody fucking wanted to put on an album. And then he's like, I need some filler. Acoustic jangle crap.
I kind of feel like it's like at the time with the like hippie movements and shit, it might have been a song people sat around smoking dope to and going, yeah, we're gonna bring peace to the world. That kind of a song.
It doesn't fit with the other two.
It is like you say, it's too hippie peppy fucking sing about a fucking bird.
Because he wrote that song Blackbird, which was a hit. People loved it. And then he thought, oh, Bluebird, to be a part in the song. Piece of shit, Paul. Moving on.
I don't like either of those fucking songs. Yeah.
So then we've got, what's number 4?
This is Vanderbilt.
How did you feel about this?
I don't know. It's catchy. It's got a really catchy chorus, but I kind of want it to fuck off as well, but it's quite well done.
Yeah. I kind of almost agree. I'd never heard it before, or at least remembered hearing it before.
I remember hearing it around. It's kind of.
I liked it.
A really good, but there's something about it.
It's catchy. I'll take it. It's an earworm. It's a pop hit. It's, I think it's good.
It's you listen to it, you're like, well, it's better than Bluebird. It's on track. It's quite creative.
Yeah.
Like the first two songs, but
Yeah.
it's a bit off for me. But yeah, that's how I feel.
Catchy.
It's like being a teenager and being confused about your sexuality. For a
Just when you're
short
a
period of
teenager.
9 or 10 or 20 years,
Yeah.
you know what I mean. Just when you're just
9 or 20,
curious.
30, 40, forever. Yeah. You
Well,
die,
off
you
and
still don't
on
know.
for a few
Yeah.
decades. Yeah, but
Like most straight men on their deathbed, you think to yourself, I wonder
could
what it
have.
would have been like to suck a dick. And then you
Oh,
die.
wait,
You're just questioning it all the way to the end.
is it too late?
Doctor? Doctor, is it too late?
That that male nurse looks a bit sideways. Maybe he would.
Mm.
Too late. Dead. Yeah.
Yeah. It sounded like you died choking on it. Next, I
Okay.
think, is one of the better songs on the record. Let Me Roll It. At first, I thought it doesn't work. And then I was like, this is genius.
Well, you know what it reminds me of is a John Lennon song,
Mm.
"Watching the Wheels Go By."
We're
You
talking
know,
about the same song. Let Me Roll It.
Yeah, just lyrically because it's got the word "wheel" in it.
Oh, fucking hell. Good connection there, mate.
So yeah, obviously I've put those two things together, but it's a song I started off thinking, oh, this might grow on me, and then as I listened to it, it grew off me.
Oh, man. No, I
Yeah.
love it. But then I've heard lots of artists cover it, and there's some great covers. But I just think it's a solid little blues song. It's not groundbreaking, but I love it. It's a good, just crank it up. The little odd time signature of the guitar intro, the whatever it is, I always I don't like the tone of that guitar, but then the song itself, I like a lot.
I have to say, it does throw in a lot of interesting curveballs and just changes and
Yeah.
just
he's
weird noises. All of a sudden, it goes. You're in a soft acoustic song, and all of a sudden, it goes. And it's doing
he's
something.
Paul fucking McCartney. That's not a
He,
very good Liverpool.
he can do that
accent.
shit, can't he? Yeah.
Doing that
I think we might be.
I was in the Beatles. Oh, that's fucking Mick Jagger. I'm going to stop trying.
I think we might be agreed on this next one. I'm going to go out on a little limb
Out on
here.
a limb? Mammonia?
Mammonia. Yeah.
Mm.
I'm going to call this a steaming pile of shit and go fuck off and die.
Yeah, I'm going to pour toxic waste on it and hope it affects Paul's ability to have children in the future.
I'm going to rape this blind bitch in a diner, Mammonia. Yeah.
Right, well, let's just move along swiftly. I don't even remember. So the next two songs, No Words and Picasso's Last Words, I can't remember which one of these is like, I'm assuming it's Picasso, but it's like that hodgepodge of every song on the album and it sounds like shit.
Picasso's Last Words. Yeah.
Yeah, what the fuck was going on there? I thought
it's its own song, and then it comes up with sections of Band on the Run and Jet.
Yeah. I put it on. I thought, I was getting ready to skip it, right? I thought this is a easy skip. And I thought, no, Dan gets mad at me when I skip shit. So I forced my way through it, and I was like, I never want to hear that again in my life. That was fucking atrocious.
It's, that Picasso's Last Words, it's kind of like this folky sing-along poppy song. And then they just drag it out to the nth degree of just painfulness with all these
trying to be creative and arty. Yeah.
And it's just annoying as fuck when they just it's a very stop-start changey.
Yeah.
There's a kick, and then it goes into Band on the Run, and it's sort of a part. And I agree. It starts off as if it was a 2-minute song that just fucking ended, you wouldn't have that much to say about it. But the fact that it drags on and then it ruins all of the good songs at the beginning of the album.
It almost ruins the album. Yeah.
It's a painful end to the album. This 1985 song at the end, that was fucking painful as well.
Well, I didn't like that one. That one's meant to be like one of the fans, McCartney fans, love 1985. That's one of his big hits, and he's just started playing it again on tour in 2023.
Is it?
And I get it. Yeah, like I know the song and I know sort of the hook. I was familiar with it. But yeah, not what I'd put on his greatest hits or anything, but it's people speak highly of it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like it's a painful downward roll for me at the end of this album, like the second half. Oh,
Yeah, I'd
it's
happily
rough.
call, you could make a super solid Band on the Run EP, but if you're going Paul McCartney and Wings best of, you're going to have Band on the Run, Jet. I'm going to throw in Let Me Roll It off this album. You might have Mrs. Vanderbilt if you needed a bit of filler on the second disc. But I reckon there's 3 epics on here for me to use your rating system.
Yeah, I kind of feel like maybe with his first 3 albums, he could have made one album if he had a bit more of a filter. If he had a George Martin in the background going "fuck off," or he wasn't
John Lennon
used.
going, yeah.
Well, if he had other band members who had better songs at the time, they could cobble together a good album.
Well, if you took
maybe one or two
have
duds.
done, if you do what the fans have done and take like the first 2 solo albums from all the Beatles and pick the hit songs off it, and they've made like the Black Album and the Red Album and stuff that like the album that would have been if they'd stayed together. There's some bang, like you'd have Maybe I'm Amazed, you'd have Imagine, you'd have what the fuck did George do? Like All Things Must Pass and My Sweet Lord. Like it'd be killer. But of course they weren't together.
Yeah. It's that kind of what happened to the other ones, like George and John, just like stretching it out with the shit. Yeah. Rather than, it's like every album cycle, I've got a couple of good ones.
Yeah.
But I can't do an album.
Between the 4 of them doing 2 songs a piece, there's an album kind of thing.
Yeah.
And yeah. Bloody Beatles. They were bloody good, weren't they, mate? They were bloody great. And they've just re-put out the Red and the Blue album.
Oh, we got a special guest, Michael Caine, here today.
I really do look her face. It's not Michael Caine. That's not Michael Caine. I can't even fucking do it, mate. Now I'm all over the fucking place.
Yeah.
We've got lots of fucking people in the studio.
Michael, I hear you're retiring from acting now. So are you going to the special island? Are you going to the special island?
I'm going to join Charlie Watts and John Lennon and that other fucking guy, and we're going to have a great time on the island. And I'm never going to be in another fucking Batman film ever again. Now I sound like fucking, I'm in the Rolling Stones again, mate.
So the interesting thing about this is I was looking on the Spotify.
Yeah.
Big song on the album. What do you reckon for streams?
Oh, you're fucking a Jet. That's what I'm going with.
No, Band on the Run, 251 million.
Oh, wow.
Jet's got 49 million.
Yeah, it's nothing.
And then You're Right, Let Me Roll It, 32 million.
Woo!
And I was very surprised to see the next song on the list, 1985, 23 million. And the rest of you can fuck off. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Fuck off, they said. Fuck off.
Well, so, like, Wings, how long did they last? They were kind of another 10-year thing, right? Like, he had the Beatles in the 60s, he had Wings in the 70s, and then he was just solo.
Yeah.
The 80s, 90s to now.
Well, hanging on the coat strings of Stevie Wonder and people like that, Michael Jackson, just rumbling along, and every now and then putting out a solo album that people went, yeah. I don't know, nothing really.
And then, did nothing he didn't, 90s onwards, he's just an old man making music that nobody cares about.
You know what I found kind of funny is that he asked the EMI for a list of studios around the world because he wanted to get out of England and record somewhere different. And he found EMI had a studio in Lagos, Nigeria, and he thought that'll be awesome. It's like sounds exotic and wonderful, and I'll go swimming every day in the ocean. And he went there and he didn't quite realize that there'd been a civil war and the country was under control by military occupation at the time. And it was a bit of a hellhole full of disease.
Mm.
That's where he got robbed with Linda. They got mugged walking at night and all the demos of their songs were stolen. And the studio they went to was falling apart and shit and unfinished. They had a bit of a nightmare time. And then he went and talked to some musician he wanted to play on the record, and it was an African musician, and he got really upset and said that McCartney was just coming to Africa to steal their music.
Mm.
And he played them their music and said, "No, I'm not stealing anything. These are the songs we're going to do. It's kind of the same shit we always do." And the guy went, all right. But I was interested to listen to that Mamunia, which seemed kind of a very African sound
Totally
influence.
stole it. Fucking Paul.
I think afterward he went, "Fuck that prick. I'll knock off their music."
Well, I thought, well, that is a fucking good idea. I'm going to steal some of their music.
And it was shit. Yeah.
And it was shit. Yeah. Oh, well, I mean, look.
That's work, Paul.
Yeah, you have a decade full of every song's a banger. Then you have a decade of just like every third song's a banger. And then you have a decade where one song's a banger. And then you have no more bangers.
But you keep on going, just on the name. You just keep going. You become a legend.
You've got fucking, one dead ex-wife, but the rest of the ex-wives are still alive, and they want some of that sweet, sweet McCartney money.
I always thought like the horriblest part of being a big rock star is when no one gives a shit about your new record, and every interview you got to talk about the 40th anniversary of some shit or the 50th or what happened when someone said something to you in a party in 1963 and it's 2020. That must be fucking. You must know. I should give up. Like no one gives a fuck anymore. I'm crap.
You've also been playing the same songs for fucking 70 years. She loves you, yeah, yeah, yeah. Fucking Jesus.
Oh, let's tune that down a fucking tone, shall we? That's a bit high these days.
Since I was 15 years old.
I can't play it in E anymore. Can we tune it down to C sharp? Oh, yeah. Fuck.
And speaking of which, of tuning it down, we are running down on the spend in the studio, so we need to, wrap this up before producer Eric gets upset at us.
We're obviously we've got to get the studio sprayed for there's been an AIDS outbreak in the office again.
Another one.
Yeah, so we got to get the curtains fucking changed again. It's going to cost us $3,000. It's a pain in the ass, I know, but
well, I mean,
it's AIDS. What are you going to do?
We need to get our own studio, not sharing with these filmmakers who. I mean, what's their logo? Is it pronounced Snoof? Is that? I mean...
Yeah, the Snoof films. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they're really nice guys.
They're artistic. Like, they draw people on the floor.
Yeah.
Well, at least once or twice a week.
Yeah.
It's really...
Lots of red paint.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I was
very
really
creative.
I'm happy that they soundproofed the studio, though. It makes life real easy for us. But there's no noise from the out. We can't hear any street noise. But
it does get a bit stinky in here. Like it just, I don't know. Something died behind the walls or something.
Like Meatworks is what it smells like.
No, it's more like the awful pit outside the Meatworks after 3 or 4 days.
But anyway, look, lovely guys. They're they're always, leaving us cups of tea and biscuits around and stuff. Just,
lots of young ladies coming and going. Yeah.
Well, they come. I never see them go.
No. Yeah. Well, they leave after we're gone, obviously.
Yeah. Well, I do appreciate that they leave us, the Snoof guys, they leave us those white envelopes full of cash every day.
Very appreciated. And it just goes along. And they tidy up after themselves mostly, so we just look the other way.
I need to reintroduce myself because they get my name wrong. They keep writing on that envelope that's full of cash. It says Hush. on it, and it's not my name, is it?
Oh,
Hmm.
odd. So what are you going to rate this son of a bitch?
Oh well, like I wanted to
Nine
rate it.
songs, 41 minutes, feels like an hour and a half.
Yeah, I did want to rate it really highly. Like I came into this thinking I'm gonna love it because it's fucking Paul McCartney. Um, and this again, like we get a lot of the time. I think half of it is great and the other half is shit. So, but I'm gonna give it. I am gonna give it a 7, just because the bangers truly are rock classics. Uh, but they deserve to be surrounded by better songs. So,
Well,
what
I
say
was
you?
looking up the traditional reviews from the mainstream reviewers.
Rolling
Uh,
Stone and such. Yeah.
yeah, 4 out of 5 generally they give this album. I'm looking 9 songs. I'm saying 2 of them are great, and the rest are. I kind of feel like wiping my ass with them.
Oh,
I'm going to go 3 out of 10. I'm just going to throw caution to the
ouch.
wind.
Wow. And
It
you
is what it
love the
is.
McCartney. You
I
love the
just don't
Paul.
hate the McCartney. I just don't hate the McCartney. I think he's very,
Mm.
very talented. Like you look at like fucking what's that song? Live and Let Die. Fucking wicked song.
What a piece of shit that song is, Dan.
I
Get your
love
head
that
out of your
song.
ass. Just
Fucking
because
awesome
Guns N'
classic.
Roses covered it.
And Guns N' Roses did an awesome cover of it too. Fucking great. But there's some shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's the
Speaking of shit,
definitive review,
yeah,
really. We can't say it clear
it
enough.
is.
3 out of 10, 7 out of 10. I mean,
Yeah.
that's obviously set a lot of minds at
If you
ease.
didn't know before,
Yeah.
you know now.
Yeah, like, well, it's been decided. I think we can,
Mm,
yeah. Well done. Pointing
bloody.
confused. We've really
Well,
sorted it
sorry
out.
guys. The snoof film guys are banging on the wall. I think
Oh,
we're gonna have
shit.
to get out of here. Um,
They got a lot of chains this time.
yeah,
Yeah.
that big guy's always carrying a large garbage bag. Looks like it's got a
Oh,
carpet in it, isn't it?
oh, we better get out of their way because they got
Yeah. Okay.
cleanup.
All right,
Okay.
guys. Good to see you again.
Okay. All right. Sweet.
Okay.